Hey guys, I am here today with this. This is the 2022 Hyundai Tucson N-Line. Let's get into it. But before we do, please go ahead and push that subscribe button. Thanks. So the Tucson is in a really great category, which includes some of my favorite SUVs, including the VW Tiguan. But I always felt like the Tucson was a little bit underpowered. So when I heard they were going to do an N-Line version of this vehicle, I was like, let's go. I've always wanted to see that, right? So they come out with it and I'm excited to drive it, and I drive it and I was like, wait, there's something wrong. Turns out there isn't anything wrong. The N-Line is simply a cosmetic upgrade for the Tucson. They don't change the powertrain at all. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong car for you. Let's talk a little bit more about that. The Tucson N-Line is powered by a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine. The good news about that is you're getting great mileage. The bad news about that is it's not turbocharged, so you're still truly underpowered. There are drive modes which are really great, but without any significant difference to the drive, you're really not getting anything wonderful. But what you are getting in this one that I've got is all-wheel drive. And I'll tell you, boy, when you need to corner, that makes a big difference in this vehicle. So if you do a lot of driving, particularly through canyons or windy roads, boy, the all-wheel drive makes a big difference. Pricing for the N-Line starts at $31,500, which, let's face it, for like a SUV of this size is a great value. You've got 18-inch alloy wheels, which are really great, and it's got a really interesting body style, which is really distinctive, which is more than you can say for the last gen Tucson. So in terms of driver comfort, like most Hyundai vehicles, I feel like it's really set up. Everything's very intuitive and it has a really nice balance of touchscreen and knobs and busyness, yet everything is really intuitive. In fact, I think Hyundai and Kia are doing this the best in the industry right now, which is really saying a lot. And it looks quite sophisticated for a car in this price range. I found that when I was driving, everything was just kind of where I expected it. It has this nice kind of sporty steering wheel, which I think is great. And my front passenger was really comfortable. The Tucson comes with a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster, which is kind of fun. There is wireless charging and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which actually worked very successfully in this car, which was great. It also comes with heated front seat and an 8-way power driver's seat. It's worth noting that the heated front seats did not seem to heat up that much with these cloth mesh upholstery. I honestly just couldn't feel it. The storage in the Tucson, if you're not familiar with this vehicle, is great, particularly for this price point. Man, I mean, it's just an enormous trunk. You've got a 60-40 split. It folds completely flat, and you've got a spare underneath, which these days can be hard to come by. The back seat in the Tucson is funny because some of my passengers, when I drove carpool this week, were complaining that it's low. And they're right, it is low, especially when you look at the window height. It's very strange. You know, the window's like up here, which makes you feel like you're kind of sunken, but you're really just actually a little bit higher than the driver and the passenger. It's a strange feeling back here, but it is quite roomy, and they were comfortable. They just felt like the ride was kind of odd, so keep that in mind. The back seat in the Tucson is quite spacious. So I already showed you how big the trunk is, and look at this legroom. I mean, that's really incredible. I've got this amount of height, which is great. I'm 5'6", so do the math there however you like. The one thing I would say is that this N-Line has these sport seats that are leather with a fabric fill. Moms, dads, people who like dirty things like children and pets, keep this in mind. It's got this weird mesh infill, or unusual mesh infill, which is kind of an interesting concept. It's woven, and I think it's supposed to be like, you know, sweat wicking or whatever. I've noticed that my friend's dog jumped in here and it was impossible to get the dog hair out. And I would also assume that if a kid were to get in here and it were to be filled with, like, you know, goldfish crumbs, they'd be really hard to get out as well. So you may want to rethink that if you're a new parent or a pet owner, because I don't think this would be that much fun to clean. This model does not have a sunroof, which is worth noting, but there is a an armrest back here with two kind of small and awkward cup holders. Keep that in mind. You've got two chargers back here, and that's it. You've got vents, but there's no rear climate control. So please keep that in mind. So as I said, the N-Line doesn't necessarily change the powertrain at all, but it does give you a few of these cool N-Line design features, including the 19-inch alloy wheels, some of this black trim. You'll notice it here, you'll notice it up here, and obviously you've got the Sport exhaust. So there you have it, the 2022 Hyundai Tucson N-Line. It's a great vehicle, it still is, but don't be thinking you're gonna get a performance car. What you will get is a really well-priced family SUV that gets really great mileage. I'm Motorhead Mama, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.